Hello and welcome to MacStories Unwind. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Viticci. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I hear you're fresh off of a dog walk. How'd it go?
So we're recording this on Wednesday. I
Right.
literally waited all afternoon for the hashtag Apple launch.
Right.
Meet the newest member of the family, whatever the announcement was.
Yes.
I was waiting at my 1 p.m., at my 2 p.m., at my 3 p.m., at my 4
Yep.
p.m. And by 5 p.m. I thought, well, if this is gonna happen, I need to take the dogs out.
Yeah.
So Sylvia and we went for a walk, and sure enough, 10 minutes after we started our walk, I opened messages and I saw that the iPhone 16e had been announced. So
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
I was in the midst of my walk by the time. And so I missed the entire first 30 minutes of hot takes, basically.
Oh, that's a shame, Federico. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
good behind the scenes topic because I have a rule. I was sharing with Mike and Steven and you. My rule on days like today is whatever you do, don't take a shower at the top of the hour because
Yeah.
you don't want to be caught in the shower when
Yeah.
the press release drops. But
Yeah.
but
And I thought usually, like, I don't know, I guess Apple is different now. Usually announcements used to happen at 2 p.m. or my 3 p.m. local time, which would be what? 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.
yeah, hardware almost always drops
Eastern?
at 9
Yeah.
9 a.m. my time, which is 3 your time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, they've changed things up, and sometimes they used to do things around noon my time, 6 p.m. for you, but
Yeah.
this was an hour before that. So who knows? Who knows what's going on over there in Apple PR? Give us a
Yeah.
schedule. We
Give us
we have lives over here.
Give us a shared iCloud calendar or something.
We
So-
do. We have dogs to walk, showers to take. There's things that have to happen besides just sitting at a desk waiting
Yeah.
for PR to drop a press release.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. Well, this is all difficult because of how episodes are released. But we are going to talk about the 16e, I think, in App Stories in the next episode of App Stories because John has been thinking about this phone for a long time.
I really have, ever since the rumors started, and for a lot of reasons, and I have a lot of feelings about it. So we'll do that for App Stories coming
Okay.
out at the end of the week, beginning of next week. So
Okay. Moving on to our Unplugged segment, I see something that makes my skin crawl.
I know that's why I put it in there.
Okay, can you please read what is in the document?
All right, so it says Costco recommendations from an Italian, and then I gave it a little thumbs up, thumbs down emoji because I wanted you to read this article from Food and
Okay.
Wine. It's Food and Wine website, foodandwine.com, titled "The Italian Products You Should and Shouldn't Buy at Costco," according to an Italian. So I don't really know who this Italian is, but this is there's actually it's a married couple who lives in the United States. I think they might have been from Italy originally. And they were questioned by Food and Wine about what you should buy at Costco. And I wanted to get your take on some of these,
Yeah, I see.
these
I
things
see.
that they recommend. You have to scroll down a little bit. I mean, this is a very ad-heavy website, I will warn people. But you got to scroll down to about halfway before you see that the first recommendation is Cento tomato products.
Okay.
What would you say
No,
about
I've
Cento?
already skimmed all of these recommendations.
Okay.
So Cento, which by the way, cento would be the word, and it means
Yes, true.
it means 100 in Italian.
Yes.
Never heard of it.
I had
I
a
have-
feeling.
I had no idea what the Cento tomatoes are from. Samarzano tomatoes? Never heard of them.
Click through. They're in all supermarkets here.
I have never seen this brand in my life in
Okay.
Italy. I have never seen it. I can tell you about the next two. So we have the Giovanni Rana ravioli and the
Uh-huh.
Parmigiano Reggiano. So essentially, what I would tell you is this. Giovanni Rana is a popular Italian brand for sort of supermarket tortellini, ravioli, sort
Sure.
of like different types of pasta or like pasta-based products. Now, they're decent and you can find them everywhere. They are, though, very commercial in the sense
Yeah, they're mass produced, right?
they're mass produced. Like you usually at any local supermarket, they have like the section of the fridge with the fresh pasta products, the
Mm-hmm.
fettuccine, the tagliatelle, the pappardelle, the ravioli, and all of that. Boy, it's so weird for me to say these names with an English accent. Regardless, Giovanni Rana is like very mainstream, and usually at any supermarket you can find the more regional brand that also distributes in a supermarket, but it's not as mass produced as Giovanni Rana.
Okay.
But
All right.
in America, you should probably buy Giovanni Rana.
Probably because we
Now,
suffer here. We suffer with
yeah.
the less good
So
Italian food.
for sure, I bet it's better than any other American-based, mass-produced ravioli you can find.
Okay.
So yes.
Good
Now
to
the,
know.
the Parmigiano Reggiano instead of the Parmesan cheese, 100% absolutely correct.
Oh,
However,
okay. Good to know.
yeah, I mean the Parmesan is an abomination that should be banned from existence.
How come?
Parmesan is not a thing.
Okay.
The original is Parmigiano Reggiano, which is a
Okay.
brand
All
that
right.
is
That's what
certified.
I want you to explain to people because I think most people would just grab Parmesan cheese here in America.
No, it's not a thing. It's Parmigiano Reggiano is made with very specific constraints, very
Mhm.
specific cows who eat very specific types of food, and it's a century-long recipe that is being passed down by generations. And there are different kinds of Parmigiano Reggiano based on the different types of seasoning that it goes through.
Right.
I personally prefer to get the really strong Parmigiano Reggiano that is like more than 36 months seasoned.
Mhm.
But you can find all kinds of Parmigiano Reggiano. But it is in Italy there's a certification that products like Parmigiano Reggiano go through. We have in Italy, you should understand, John, we have a whole structure, a whole like administrative and bureaucratic structure to certify food.
Yep.
And to
So
give
it's not like you don't want knockoff.
Nope. And there's like different types of acronyms that you will find, like DOP, DOCG. All of these acronyms, they stand for a specific type of certification that attest that this is an original, for example, wheel of Parmigiano Reggiano. There's a similar certification for wine, for the pecorino cheese, for the pasta, and so forth. Now, Parmigiano Reggiano has a specific logo that is the original. Now, this person recommends the
Kirkland brand.
Kirkland?
Kirkland is the store brand for Costco. So how much you want to bet that that's not certified?
Kirkland.
Kirkland.
Look, I mean, it's not like if you type on your computer Parmigiano Reggiano and then you print it and you slap it on a piece of cheese, it suddenly becomes Parmigiano Reggiano.
Yes.
I would be like, it is true that you're not supposed to get the Parmesan. It's got a different. I've seen the Parmesan. It's not Parmigiano Reggiano. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But Kirkland.
For the record, I like Parmesan cheese, but
Oh God.
I've had both.
Oh gosh.
I'm just telling you.
I will
like
not.
Parmesan.
I will not. You like it because
It's all I've got.
you are in an unfortunate predicament, my friend. That's why you like it. It's like giving somebody in a desert
A glass of water.
a glass of really bad water. Like, it's still water, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to have to come back to Italy, Federico. I think that's the only way to
Look,
deal with this.
if it weren't that difficult now with tariffs and whatnot, I would totally ship you like a box of food. Yeah,
That does sound good. Shipping food, that's another thing. Trying to get food in and out of countries is complicated. It's very, very complicated. Do we have anything else in here? Oh, they said don't buy the Kirkland olive oil that comes in plastic bottles.
But you can buy the cheese? Okay.
You can buy the cheese, but
okay.
They basically said you don't want your olive oil in a plastic bottle. You only want it in glass.
Now, this is accurate. If Costco would sell their olive oil in dark glass bottles, that would be a game changer. Yes. First of all, not olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. That's what you're supposed to buy.
That's
never
what I buy.
just regular olive oil. Get the extra virgin one. The dark glass bottle, yes, because it keeps the oil's structure, flavor, and just it makes the oil last longer. Never
Yeah.
get ideally never get anything in a plastic container. Sylvia and I know that it's more expensive, and I know that it involves a little bit more organization. We try to buy any type of thing from a supermarket in a glass jar or glass container as much as possible.
That's becoming very, very hard, at least in the US.
Oh yeah.
I mean, oh yeah, there's very little that's in glass these days. I mean, I think
Mm.
the thing you still see things like pickles and other kinds of
Mm.
vegetables in jars a lot, but not so much like
Mm.
peanut butter back in the day used to be
Yeah.
in glass. It's not anymore. None of the nut spreads, any kind of jam, I guess you find in glass a
Mm.
lot. But anyway.
Interesting.
All right, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree with this. I think the nice thing about a plastic container for olive oil is it's not so heavy, but the light in the supermarket from those fluorescent lights or the daylight, that's going to damage your olive oil. So you want a dark bottle, and I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah, I would probably die before I buy olive oil in a plastic bottle.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. I'm
I will not.
sorry. I'm sorry. I tend to be a pretty moderate person, but when it comes to Italy and food, I am as much as an extremist as I can be. So I apologize, but
Well, this is why we have this show. I like to do this. I like to pull this out of you
also
once in a
no,
while.
I'm not apologizing. No, what am I apologizing for? No,
You don't
I'm
have
right.
anything to apologize for.
I am
You
right.
understand food.
I am correct.
You're correct. So yes, and plus I learn, Federico comes to America. Don't take him somewhere with Parmesan cheese. Don't do that.
Don't take me anywhere, honestly.
I know you probably.
I know.
He's a difficult guest, I guess.
I can be, yes. Like when you took me to that place saying, no, I'm going to take you to a place I've heard they make really good coffee. And I swear it tasted like mushrooms. I was like,
Oh,
why
that was a terrible place. That was a place I had never been to, and we all thought it was terrible coffee. Yes.
Mushroom coffee.
Was it me or was it Alex that made us go there?
I think it was Alex.
I think it was
you.
Alex.
You're
We'll
right.
blame it
was
on Alex. He's not here. We can blame it on him.
All right, John, what you got for me?
All right, so I watched a movie over the weekend, a brand new one that's on
movie,
Apple
okay.
TV Plus. Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's called The Gorge. All right,
Gorge.
and it stars Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, and they are like mercenary types that guard a gorge. They're in these towers on each side of the gorge. They're not to have any contact with each other. And they're trying to keep in something that's down below in this shadowy gorge that's full of fog. And they don't know anything more than that. That's their
Wait,
job.
what is a gorge?
A gorge is like a canyon, but very narrow.
Okay.
Think of it that way. All right.
Okay.
It's just like a very deep cut in the earth. And their job is to protect the world from whatever is in here. They have to keep it in. They have to contain it. And it's just a fantastic kind of quasi sci-fi horror type of movie where you find out over time that I'm not going to give it away, but there's something that happened down in this gorge that is very awful, and it's created things that they don't want, the governments don't want to come out. So the one side is protected by Americans, and the other side is protected by Eastern Bloc countries. And I think the woman is Lithuanian, maybe, but in any event, they end up contacting each other, despite the fact that they're not supposed to have any communications, by holding up signs that they write out with a marker. And they kind of form this relationship, and eventually the guy goes over on a zip line to visit her. There's kind of becomes kind of a weird romantic interest in the midst of a horror sci-fi type movie. And in doing so, he's broken the rules. Something bad happens, and she has to go save him. And I don't want to get too much into the plot beyond that, but it's a fun action movie. It reminds me a little bit of like when I watched Alien Romulus recently. It's entertaining, fun, kind of an action-packed adventure with some jump scares and a fun sci-fi theme. And it just came out on Apple TV Plus about a week and a half ago as we released this. So yeah, The Gorge on Apple TV Plus is my recommendation this week.
Nice. I've been playing Avowed. So this is
Oh
the
yes,
new
me too.
this is the new action RPG by Obsidian, which is
Yep.
always funny when I see this company Obsidian and I think of my text editor, but this is a different thing. So I was obviously familiar with Avowed and the fact that it was coming out, but I wasn't exactly paying a lot of attention to it because historically I haven't been that into Obsidian games and first person RPGs.
Hmm.
But there's something about Avowed that I don't know if that it looks great. I've been streaming. I signed up for the early access, and that gave me access via GeForce Now because they have their Xbox integration
Yep.
thing.
That's what I've been doing too.
Yeah. There's something about it that it looks gorgeous, and especially if you're running the game with really good specs. There's something about the controls and the writing seems exceptional so far. You're basically this character, and there's a character creation tool, so you can choose the kind of character you want to be. But you're basically you have been saved by this emperor of this country, and you're basically being tasked to go out on an adventure on behalf of the emperor to find out what's going on with this plague. So there's some kind of you can tell maybe that this game was developed during lockdown and the pandemic. So there's
Right.
the idea there's this massive virus going on, and these animals in forests are acting up and people are acting strange. We need to figure out what's going on. Yeah, so the writing seems really good. Here's the thing, there's a lot of text, there's a lot of menus, there's a lot of customization, but unlike similar games that I've tried, there's something about it. Maybe it's the fact that the UI is so clear and everything is explained to you very obviously, but it's not too hand-holdy. Those games that tend to
Yep.
over-explain things, and those tutorials kind of overstay their welcome after a little while. This game has a pretty good balance of putting you right into the action just after a few minutes, and progressively disclosing all the things you can do. Like, for example, something that I appreciate is that you can choose to play as a certain type of character. I chose to play as a melee fighter, which I always do. But very quickly, the game tells you, look, you can actually, and the game encourages you, you're supposed to switch between two different loadouts if you want. So, for example, and you can choose to have something in your in your main hand and in your off hand. So initially, I was playing with just a regular spear and a shield, which became a sword and a shield after a few minutes. But then the game I was supposed to light something on fire, and the game gave me this grimoire, this book of spells.
Right.
And so I equipped the book of spells in my left hand with the sword in the right hand. And so now I'm playing this hybrid character, this mixed style of it's both melee fighting, but also I can throw spells. But at any point, I can switch my loadout by pressing the Y button, and so I can become an archer for more ranged combat. So, and all of this is explained in the first hour of the game, and I think Obsidian has done a really good job explaining these things step by step. The first sort of level basically serves as a tutorial to explain the basics of the game, and I'm just now getting into the more open worldy type aspect of the game, which I've heard is pretty much massive.
It is huge.
Yeah. So I played just a couple of hours. Been mostly streaming on my Odin 2 portal, which I think we're gonna cover on NPC pretty soon because we haven't really talked about it. But yeah, I just wanted to recommend Avowed. I think it's now generally available.
It is. It's part of Game Pass too. So
part of Game Pass. Yeah. So
if you have a Game Pass subscription, you don't have to pay anything extra for it. We paid extra so we could get it early.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game. I usually don't like text-heavy games, but the writing here is so good that I enjoy just kind of reading through and learning the story as much as I do, kind of doing the combat and exploring the world. So it's a very, very good game.
Yeah. So that's my pick.
All right. Well, thanks, Federico. That's it for this week's episode of MacStories Unwind. You can find the two of us over at MacStories.net and, of course, Club MacStories. Federico is on social media where he's Viticci. That's Viticci. And I'm John Voorhees. JohnVoorhees. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.